Hi, Patrick. Welcome to Hong Kong.
Nice to meet you.
How do you like Hong Kong? Is it your first time to come here?
No, many times. And I started to come to Hong Kong 20 years ago. And I like to come to Hong Kong. And normally, I come to Hong Kong 3-4 times a year. And especially for us, for the Branaire Ducru, and which is served in the first class of the Cathay Pacific. And I have to come to Hong Kong and to promote the image of Branaire Ducru by the Cathay Pacific and by the trade as well.
So, you know, today we are tasting 2010, and around the world, people are saying that both 2009 and 2010 are good years for Bordeaux. How do you compare these two vintage?
It's very interesting to compare the 10 and the 9, and because, as you know, the two vintages are great vintages, and they will be very strong competitors for a very long time. And definitively, it's the best couple, and perhaps we have never had to Bordeaux, and better as for the 89-90, 95-96, or perhaps it's quite difficult, as you can imagine, to compare with the 1899 and 1900, which were great vintages. But definitively, the 9 and the 10, they are very spectacular because both they have a lot of qualities. And as you know, the 2009 is very fruity and very accessible. And perhaps the 2010 is a little bit less accessible, but at the same time is so pure, so precise, and so well done. And it's definitively a very elegant vintage. And if I have to choose between the 10 and the 9 for the Branaire Ducru, I have to say I would like to choose the 2010, and which is so beautiful, so pure. The fruit is so elegant, and the freshness is very amazing as well.
So when do you think is the best year for both 2009 and 2010 to drink?
And for the 9 and the 10, I can imagine for both, and we have to wait a little bit. And because we have a lot of tannins and a huge potential for the complexity. And as you know, for the Bordeaux wine, we have to wait a little bit. That means for the 9 and the 10, I can imagine the wine will be firstly accessible in the next 5 years. But for the people who want to have much more complexity and with a large palette of aromas, perhaps they have to wait more, 10 or 12 or 15 years. And because the potential for the two vintages, it's a huge potential as we had for the 45, the 47, the 49, the 28. That means the potential of aging and there should be more than 40, 50, 60 years.
So how about 2012? Because everyone's saying that 2012 is a difficult year around the world. So how is your production, or how is the harvest for 2012?
I would like to say for the 2012, and for the Branaire Ducru, I like to compare the vintages by 4 different groups. The top group, which is a group of the exceptional vintages. The second group, which is very good, but not exactly exceptional. And the third, which is the group of the good wine, and the fourth group. Definitively for me, the 2012 should be to the top of the second group. That means a very serious vintage. Not so exceptional as for the 9 and the 10 and the 5 and the 2000 or 2003, and which are the group of the exceptional vintages. But definitively the 2012 should be as for the 2001 or 2006 or the 95 or 96. That means a very serious vintage. We didn't have a big crop, unfortunately, because the weather was very dry, and from the beginning of August to the 20th of September, we didn't have a lot of rainfall. But it is because we had very small berries, but at the same time we had a lot of intensity, a lot of color, and the wine is definitively, the 2012 is definitively a vintage, and which could be storage for a long time.
So when is your exact harvest time in 2012? Because some winery, they said they have quite really late harvest, like almost end of October.
Yeah. And the first picking was a little bit late, and it's because the wine is definitively very ripe, and we didn't have any problem with the ripeness. And between that record, the mid-veraison and the first picking, we had a very long time, and which was perfect for the maturity. And we started to pick at the beginning of October, and we finished on 16 or 17 of October.
Okay, so in the recent year, there is a trend for increasing Merlot in the Bordeaux blend. So how do you see this trend?
It's not my philosophy for the Branaire Ducru. And we have a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon, and we have 70% Cabernet Sauvignon. I think depending about the soil we have at Branaire Ducru, and we have a lot of gravels, and because we are located at the heart of the Saint-Julien appellation, and which is definitively an appellation where we have a lot of gravels. And for the Branaire Ducru, we like to have a lot of Cabernet Sauvignon in the blend, and because the Cabernet Sauvignon for us, and due to the soil we have, to the gravel we have, and it has the base potential for aging and the base potential for the complexity.
How about there is some prediction for growing Syrah in Bordeaux? Do you see any trend perhaps in your winery?
Sorry,
the use of Syrah, the growth of Syrah.
No, we don't like to use any Syrah, and I think the typicity of Bordeaux, and Bordeaux is very well known for the elegance and the freshness, and definitively, and we have to follow, and with the 4 varieties we use generally, and the Cabernet Franc, the Cabernet Sauvignon, and the Merlot and the Petit Verdot, but I can imagine to use Syrah. I think the Syrah is perfect for the Rhone Valley, but not exactly for us.
Okay, thank you very much, Patrick. Thank you for your time.